So the title of our workshop at the district conference was Same Old Mugs in the Kitchen. So I'll go ahead and jump in to that. By the end of the workshop, we want you to know a few different things. And most of this applies to you all, but I'm sure the audience is a little different. So, but basically how hospitality teams have affected our congregation and its culture, how our hospitality teams function, how you can get the hospitality team started in your own congregation, and how to keep the hospitality teams running smoothly after you've started them. So I'm going to be presenting in a style where I make statements and then I talk about why those statements are true. So hospitality teams have increased the connectedness of members and visitors in our congregation. When we started the hospitality teams, we kind of just wanted to get the jobs done, but then we ended up with getting a lot more out of it than we initially thought. The hospitality teams connect visitors, they build relationships, and create a time and space for conversations that wasn't there after the service normally if people just get up and go home. And the hospitalities are essentially an intergenerational activity-based small group. And the hospitality teams have gotten more people involved in Sunday morning tasks at our fellowship. Where on the left we have the old way where we just had coffee and maybe a few cookies after the service. We had a moderate amount of people that helped maybe once a year. Just a little. Okay. And several people that were doing it all the time, more than 10 times a year. And now we have more tasks. We've expanded to having coffee, greeting, and other tasks I'll talk about. But we have a lot of people helping out a couple times a year, 5 times a year. And we still have those same people that help out every Sunday almost. But now they help out because they're not obligated to, but they just really like being in the kitchen or something like that. So it's their choice now. The hospitality teams have gotten more people engaged in our fellowship. Longtime members have started attending again when asked to participate on the hospitality teams. And infrequent attendees will come when their team is on duty and then have even become team leaders from that participation. And also team members interact and they end up inviting each other to different events. They're chatting while they're making coffee and then they say, hey, do you know about that play that's going on next Friday? And then they end up inviting each other to events outside of the fellowship where they can build more community. All right, great. So the hospitality teams empower people. More people know how to make the coffee, they know where the brooms are, and all of these other tasks. So they can actually just go ahead and act when an issue arises instead of having to look for someone that knows how to fix the problem that happens. The team members have made creative changes that have improved the Sunday morning experience for everyone. Actually, and a couple of examples of things that happened at our congregation were an early coffee before the first service. We had so many people in the lobby, it got very noisy and crowded, so we provided coffee in another room. It spread people out, but it also made it easier to have conversations, and more people actually started coming before the service to chat. We added an extra coffee station so people don't have to wait in line, and also spreads out where people are getting food and coffee from. And also we like to greet outside, which is really nice on a sunny day. And then also in terms of empowerment, one story I'll tell is of a Saturday night rental where we rented out our social room space, and people came in on Sunday morning and it was really a mess. And there were tables and chairs everywhere, things just not put away as they were supposed to be. But because we had people on the teams there that knew where everything went, the first 5 or so people were just able to take care of the mess and put it away, and it ended up not being a problem. The service started on time, and yeah, people were empowered to make the space clean and how it should be. So, okay. Hospitality teams engage newcomers with a limited responsibility. So many visitors, I think, simply come to our fellowship for fellowship with other people. They're looking for community and conversation. And many visitors are eager to get involved in the community, to meet others, and to help and give back to the community that they're becoming a part of. So, besides this, participation acts as a step towards membership, or as a first activity after becoming becoming a member. Now that their hospitality teams are established, it's one of the expectations pretty much that once you become a member, you want to be involved in our church. And so you will become part of the teams, and that's a way to get to know other congregants. The hospitality teams have cultivated leaders. It's an opportunity for low-pressure leadership positions and that are finite in time in the amount of work that you have to do. The hospitality teams make leadership more inviting because everyone works together as a team. And the hospitality leaders are likely to become leaders in other programs as well. So I say the hospitality teams run themselves with a little organizational help. And
just like you.
yeah, so this graphic here sort of represents that. With an overall coordinator, the big smiley face, that's sending notes to people and making sure everything is running smoothly, to the team leaders, which we call communicators and facilitators, which I'll talk about what their roles are, and then which communicate to the individual team members. And how it works at our fellowship is the hospitality teams are on shift for 4 weeks. And then they have several-month guilt-free break while the other teams are performing the tasks. So I'll talk a little bit about what the different leaders do. So first, the overall coordinator of the hospitality teams, the job is essentially to keep the teams healthy. So they act as a point person for general questions about the teams. They determine the team rotation and communicates the schedule to the teams and to the congregations, creates and updates task lists of what the different tasks are and how to accomplish them for people that may not be familiar with them, assign new team members, and it acts as a liaison to special event coordinators. Often we'll have a special event or a fundraiser lunch after the service, and we need to communicate about where to move tables or other things of that nature. And this person also keeps the hospitality teams from agreeing to do too much and keeps it fun. And right now, how we have it set up is most of the work is done by one person with help from 1 or 2 other people, but really this is a job that could be split up into several smaller positions as necessary. The team communicator organizes the schedule of team member activities. So they let their team know when they are on duty in advance, and we do this by email almost exclusively. And then it's good to contact people, more than a month in advance because their schedules are more open, so it's easier to get people to say when they're available. It creates a schedule of team member activities, who's going to do what on each Sunday, and then sends reminders out maybe the Thursday or Friday before, and also thank yous afterwards. And organizes a team party. After the shift is over, we often get together either to just share a meal or play games or something of that effect to build community. And here's a sample schedule. The columns are different Sundays on the right there, and on the left we have the jobs. And all of the names here are people that signed up. This is an example of a schedule that is pretty full. Sometimes they're less full, but we have more than one person on each job. And of course the jobs will vary depending on what your congregation's needs are. And I think there's a copy of one of these in the packet we gave. So the team facilitator ensures a smooth completion of the Sunday morning tasks. They end up arriving early and staying late on a Sunday morning to facilitate the tasks. So they use the shift schedule to know who should be where and when. And the key is that they facilitate the completion of the different tasks. They don't do the tasks. They're not running around greeting, making coffee, and back and forth. And so then in that way they can train new people on how to do something and be available for questions. And they thank the team members for helping. A lot of thanking happens, and our culture of appreciation is very important to keep things running smoothly. The responsibility for this job actually begins and ends on Sunday mornings, so it is a nice finite time commitment. And if you have multiple facilitators for each team, it ends up only being a couple Sundays a year that you have to be there the entire morning.
I would say that the thing that Tony is holding, you've got a copy of in there. It's a 2-sided checklist. One of the facilitators said, I feel like I'm just standing around watching, I'm not doing anything. And so we made up that list, and there's little specific things about every 5 minutes to check off and make sure they did that. Make sure the ushers are okay and that everybody's set up. And so the other thing is I want to jump in, I want to do things. I don't want to teach. But if I'm holding that, it's harder for me to make coffee. I'm a facilitator. So it's important, I think, that the facilitators don't cover all the holes. They fill the holes with somebody else. So there's an example of that that you would modify. There it is.
Yeah, here's an example of the facilitator checklist that Chuck was talking about. So if someone wishes, they can sort of carry something around and check off the different tasks that may be forgotten and need to be done.